Good day, this is Miss Jero again, and we were going to discuss about the chapter 1 for our Echo 104. Alright, so before I proceed with our proper discussion, I want you to bring your notes together with your pen so that while I am discussing, you do your taking down notes. Okay, so for this topic, we were learn about the theories, characteristics, major issues, and human development for the development, growth, and theories. Alright, so these are the objectives. Number one is define and differentiate the concept of development and growth. Explain the different theories of economic development. Third, enumerate the structured and characteristics of developing nations and analyze major issues of growth and development as well as the Philippine human development. Alright, so ano nga po ba ang economic development? Okay, so based on our definition, it occurs when the reduction and elimination of poverty, inequality, and unemployment within a growing economy. So, since it's development, meaning to say, ano-ano po yung mga problema sa bansa na habang tumatagal, unti-unting nababawasan. Bakit? Meaning to say, may nangyayari. Meaning, may ginagawa yung government, may ginagawa yung society para magkaroon ng solusyon yung mga problems na ito. Okay? So, whatever the solution that they have, kung ano man po yung proseso pinagdaanan nila, ibig lang sabihin nun, nagkakaroon ng development. May pagbabago. Okay? So, now, meron tayong tinatawag na Gini coefficient. So, ano po yung Gini coefficient? So, this is a statistical measure of income distribution. So, sabi dito, kapag daw po ang nagkaroon ng zero coefficient, it means that we have a perfect equality. Sinabing perfect equality, we have the quality of education, we have the quality of not just about the education but also the services provided with the government. So, yan. Yun po yung tinatawag natin na equality. So, everyone are equal. Everyone are entitled to have something or to experience something from the government, from society, and so on and so forth. Next, paano daw po nagkakaroon ng economic development? Okay, hindi po magkakaroon ng development kung wala po nagtatrabaho para dito. Sino yon? Obviously, tayo. Okay, tayong mga mamamayan. Okay? So, our job is to become fully equipped. Okay? It's whatever the profession that we have, okay, make it sure that whatever the skill na yun, okay, magkakaroon siya ng contribution sa ating economy. Okay? So, that's why the investment of having economic development is the people itself. Okay? Yung tao niya mismo. Now, what do theories and models try to do? Okay? Para saan po ba yung mga teorya na pag-aaralan natin o yung mga models na, let's say, computation man yan or whatsoever? Okay? Para po ba saan yun? Alright? So, model can seek to explain and predict how economic development or even hindi nagde-develop over time. Okay? Ano po yung mga factors nun? Yan. Next is the barriers to grow can be identified and overcome. And, syempre, with the help of the government, okay, government can induce or start, sustain, and accelerate growth and with appropriate development policies. Tayo, okay, the more na nagkakaroon tayo ng policy, ibig sabihin, meron tayong panuntunan, meron tayong sinusundan, meron tayong ruler. Okay, so whatever those policies that the government will provide to their society, dapat po, it will lead with the development. So, theories are generalization, while less developed countries, or tinatawag natin na LDC, share similarities. So, every countries, meron mga ano tayo, we cannot compare our country to others. Why? Because we have different thing to consider. Number one, economy. Okay, siyempre, magkakaiba tayo ng resources, magkakaiba tayo ng yaman, magkakaiba tayo ng skills, magkakaiba tayo ng dimensions ng bansa, di ba? So, Yun yung una. Pangalawa, social. Okay, anong klaseng mamamayan meron ng isang bansa? Okay, whatever the kind or type of the society or community the countries have, it will definitely affect the economy of a certain country. Next, cultural. Okay, paano ba ang habit ng isang mamamayan ng ganitong lugar? Okay, how they behave. Meaning to say, ano ba yung mga tinatawag nilang, meron ba silang certain work ethics? Meron ba silang tinatawag na work habit? Yan. So, it really depends on the culture. Okay? Next is the historical experience. So, means the implication of the given theory vary widely from country to country. And also, there's no such thing, or let's say, wala pong fix na teorya para po magkaroon ng economic development. Okay? Walang isang panuntunan na pwedeng magamit sa lahat ng bansa para magkaroon ng economic development. Bakit po? Like what I've said kanina, magkakaiba tayo. Okay? Magkakaiba tayo ng resources, magkakaiba tayo ng behavior, magkakaiba tayo ng kultura. So, yan. Okay, so next po, dito, no, meron tayong tinatawag na absolute and comparative advantages. Okay? But before we go with this, intindihin muna natin yung growth and development. Ano po bang pinagkaiba ng growth and development? No? Maybe somehow you think, they are the same. Okay? They are the same if we give a simple explanation, no? Or maybe they are not the same because definitely they have different spelling or whatsoever. So, yung growth and development, okay, they work together. Ibig sabihin, you cannot growth if you will not develop. Hindi ka magkakaroon ng development if you don't have growth. Okay, so they work together. Kumbaga, they are complementary. Okay? So, when we talk about growth, based on our definition, as an expansion of the system in one or more dimensions out a change in its structure. And development as an innovative process leading to the structural transformation of social system. Parang ganito lang yan tayo. Of course, we start from being a baby, di ba? Habang tumatagal, lumalaki tayo. So, that is what we call growth. Lumalaki ka, nag-expand yung katawan mo. Bahala ka dyan kung tumaba ka ba sa iba. But what I'm trying to say, habang tumatagal, tumatanda ka. Habang tumatagal, nag-growth ka, nagbabago ka, lumalaki ka. Diba? So, that is growth. Saan po papasok yung development? Development is the process of being growth. Diba? The process of being old. Okay? Iba yung pag-iisip mo nung ikaw ay grade. Nung ikaw ay nasa junior high, di ba? Iba yung pag-iisip mo nun. And also, iba yung pag-iisip mo na ngayon. So, meaning to say, in the span period of time, nagkakaroon ka ng development when it comes to the way you think. Okay? So, yun po yung tinatawag na differences between the growth and development. But like what I've said, they need to drive. Okay? Kailangan mag-drive itong dalawa na to para magkaroon tayo ng tinatawag na economic development. Okay. Next. Okay. Nagkakaroon po tayo ng development because of two things. Number one is the absolute advantage. Second is the comparative advantage. So, pag sinabi po nating absolute advantage, meaning, yun talaga yung asset mo. Okay? Whatever it is, okay? Yun talaga yung asset na meron ka. Yun talaga yung pambato mo. Yun talaga yung pangyabang mo sa ibang nation o sa ibang bansa. So, like for example, we have Middle East. Yan. So, sa Middle East, marami siyang petroleum, marami siyang gases. So, absolute yun. There's no question with that. There's no doubt with that. Okay? So, dahil absolute yun, okay? So, time to time, di ba? All over the world, dependent to Middle East because of their gases. Gases or petroleum turns into energy. So, the words needs energy. So, obviously, yan, the part of that area have the absolute advantage. Next po is the comparative advantage. Ano pong pinagkaiba nito? Pag sinabi pong comparative advantage, this is the basis of standard free trade theories. Okay, so sooner or later, we're going to discuss about the free trade theories and some other subjects. So pag sinabi pong comparative advantage, you're going to compare your resources kung saan ka kikita. Okay, like for example, here in the Philippines, we have coconut and also we have mango. Yan. So, itong dalawa na to, pinoproduce natin. But the thing is, saan ba mas kikita ang bansa? Are we going to focus on producing coconut? Or we're going to focus on producing mangoes? Okay? So, syempre, tayo, dahil gusto natin magkaroon ng income, what we will choose? Diba? Syempre, depende yun doon sa takbo ng market. Kung saan mas malaki yung market ng product natin. Okay? So, yung tinatawag na comparative advantage. Okay? Next is, ayan. Ito na po yung mga teorya natin. Okay? So, the first theory is the Rostow linear stage model. So, dito, this kind of theories argue of ano ba yung dapat i-achieve, no? Ano ba yung tinatawag na modernity? Saan ba tayo dapat sumabay? Okay? So, some of the countries, meron silang tinatawag na stages para po magkaroon ng tinatawag na development. Meaning to say, itong stages na to, you cannot prosper or you cannot develop if you will not experience or if you will not pass every stages. Okay? So, these stages is divided into 3. So, ano po yung tatlo na to? The first one is the primary, second one is definitely the secondary, and the last one is tertiary sectors. Okay? So, itong stages na to, no, kumbaga para mag-develop ang country, simulan natin sa pinakamababaw. Diba? Pinakamababaw. Example sa bansa natin. Okay, para magkaroon tayo ng development, let's focus first in the primary. Ano po ba yung primary? It's either education, it's either to solve poverty. So, yung primary. Kasi people cannot develop even themselves kung sila ay nagugutom. They will not think well. Okay? Until such time na kung saan ma-reach natin yung tinatawag na tertiary sectors. Okay, next. We also have the Harrod-Dummer savings model. So, sabi dyan, no, this model developed in 1930s suggests that the population's savings provide the funds, which are borrowed for investment purposes. Higher rates of savings can be transferred into higher rates of investment to generate self-sustaining economic growth. So, sabi po dyan ni Harrow, the more na madami daw po ang tao, the more na dumadami ang paggawa or output, the more na kumikita ang isang bansa. Bakit? Because of taxes. So, yung taxes na yon, syempre sa government, ang gagawin niya, magbabayad siya ng utang, at the same time, kailangan niya mag-save. Para po saan ang savings? May mga bansa po na kung saan nangungutang. Okay? So, ito yung sinesave ni government para meron siyang ipautang. Okay? Paano siya makakabayad ng kanyang utang kung wala siyang kung wala siyang pwedeng i-invest? No? Kumbaga, para makabayad si government ng kanyang pagkakautang sa ibang bansa, kailangan niyang magkaroon ng source para mabayaran ito. Okay? So, one of those things is investment. Investment through what? Okay? So, yung investment na yon, it can be investment to the individual inside the nations, or magpautang siya, like what I've said kanina, or it's either the government will do a lot of programs para sa kanyang mga tao, so that whatever the program or whatever the output of that program, diba, it can cover, okay, it can cover all the liabilities of that certain nations. Next po, we have the Lewis dual sector model. So this kind of model is a structural change model that explain how labor transfer in dual economy. So, dito po, ang binibigyang diin dito ni Lewis dual sector is that the industrial sector must double their efforts para po makapag-generate, no, ng income. Okay, so sabi ni Lewis, the more na madami daw pong businesses sa ibang bansa, the more na nagkakaroon ng development ng isang bansa. Okay? Bakit po? Kasi 'di ba, pag may business kailangan niya ng empleyado. So dahil kailangan niya ng empleyado, the unemployment rate of the Philippines will going low. So yan, nagkakaroon siya ng domino effect kapag daw po nagkaroon ng business sa isang bansa. Next po, we have the solo growth model, economic growth. So this depends on the quantity and the quality of resources and technology. So sabi lang dito ni Solo, whatever the resources that we may have, okay, we always need to prioritize kung para po ba saan yun. We're going to produce dahil ito yung kailangan ng madami. Okay, so you will choose quantity. But dahil maraming ang may kailangan. But the thing is, yung mga may kailangan ba nito, they were going to satisfy? So you also need to think about the quality of that resources. Next po is the dependency theory. So by the word dependency, nakadepende. Okay? So may mga bansa kasi na kung saan may mga tinatawag tayong mga alliances. Okay, whatever the alliances of countries, okay, nagkakaroon sila ng dependency. Nagiging dependent sila. Parang ganito lang yun sa groupings, di ba? Pag kayo yung magkaka-group, magkaka-alyansa kayo. Bakit? Because you have your common goal. Magkaka-parehas na kayo ng gustong marating. Same thing with the alliances. Okay? Kaya sila nagka-grupo because they have certain growth to be achieved. So, dahil meron silang growth, dahil meron silang goal to be achieved, nagiging dependent sila sa kakayahan ng isa't isa. Okay? So, by that means, no, this is the theory of having an explanation on how the process of international trade and domestic development. Okay? And, well, eventually, yung mga countries na to, no, dahil sila ay dependent sa isa't isa, nagtutulungan sila. Okay? So, it deals with the politics. So, yung politics natin, dahil sila naman yung nagpapatupad ng batas, no? Batas when it comes to dealing with every nations, when it comes to having partnership with different countries. So, ito po yung tinatawag na dependency theory. So nation can develop because of their alliances, because they are dependent on the contribution of other countries. Next po, we have the balanced growth theories. So, balanse, no? Ito po yung theory na kung saan it's argued that as a large number of industry develop, simultaneously, each generate a market for one another. Okay, it's also same thing with Lewis, no? Yun nga lang si balance theory, ang ina-assume na dito, or ina-assume niya rito, the more na dumadami ang businesses, the more na dumadami ang market niya. Okay? Pag madami siyang market, kikita sa business, yung market niya na yon, kailangan niya magtrabaho para mabili niya yung kailangan niya kay business. So, balance. Okay? Next po is unbalanced growth theory. So, dito naman po sa ating unbalance, theories argue that sufficient resources cannot be mobilized by the government to promote widespread or, let's say, coordinated investment in all industries. So, therefore, government should need to have a plan, or, let's say, a market interventions is required in a few strategic industries. So, those with the greatest number of backward and forward links to other industry are prioritized. So, sabi dito, pag hindi nagkakaroon ng balance, so the government will definitely control whatever those things. Okay? Kaya po nagkakaroon tayong tinatawag na coordinated investment. Okay. So the last is the trickling down theory. So in here, the initial benefits of growth to the rich, but eventually trickling down to the poor. So like for example, may pamilyang mayaman, diba? Mayaman sa lugar ninyo. So yung pamilya na yon, ang ginagawa niya, okay, dahil mayaman siya, tinutulungan niya yung lokal. Kumbaga, kung siya ay tutulong, gusto niya within the community. Okay? Kumbaga, yung yaman niya, hindi lang para sa kanya. It can be also distributed sa ibang mahihirap. Ayan. That is what we call a trickling down theories. Okay, so let's have an example. So rich families buy local produce and employ servants, etc. So dahil siya ay nagbe-business, okay, kailangan niya ng tao. So yung mga tao na yun, let's say mahihirap. So yung mga kinikita nila doon sa pagiging empleyado nila, okay, nakakatulong doon sa mga mahihirap. Okay? So, yung mahirap na yon, let's say, matagal na siya nag-work, nakakaipon na siya, and so on and so forth. Nagkakaroon siya ng development sa sarili niya. Why? Because, nabibili niya na yung gusto niya. Diba? Napapaaral niya na yung mga anak niya. Nagkakaroon ng development sa buhay niya. Because of those rich people. So, yun po yung tinatawag na trickling down theory. Alright. Next tayo. Ayan. May mga major issues po on why countries or nation cannot definitely enjoy or don't have the process of development. Kasi po, nagkakaroon sila ng tinatawag na poverty trap. Hindi na sila makaalis. No? Bakit hindi sila makaalis? Okay? Marami pong factors yan. Depende po kasi yan kung isang bansa ka, anong klaseng government meron kayo, diba? Anong klaseng society ang meron kayo. So, ayan. This is from the World Bank, no? Sabi doon, no, today's the problem facing development countries revolve around that are generally called structural constraint to development. So first among these is the geography, not just in the historical sense described above, but also in the more contemporary aspect that the modern economy cannot function without a division and diversification of labor. Thus, countries with a small population may have trouble developing and gaining access to market kasi nga konti lang sila. While landlocked countries may struggle to generate with global market and expand their economies. And other common constraint on development, okay, ano pa po yung mga hadlang or barriers or constraint kung bakit po hindi or kung bakit po hindi na-address yung development ng isang bansa. Is it because because of the high economic poverty? Yan. So syempre dahil naghihirap, kasunod dun yung kasunod dun yung suffering in hunger, 'di ba? High mortality rates, unsafe water supply, poor education system, corrupt government, kasi nga walang pera, war. Siyempre, paano po nagkakaroon ng war? Kapag hindi nagkakaintindihan, bakit? Kasi nga po, walang education, di ba? Hindi nila alam yung wisdom, yan. Bakit hindi nila alam yung wisdom? Because somehow, it can also reflect on the food that they are eat. So, yung mga ganun. It's the poverty trap have domino effect from the start. Okay? So, pagsasimula pa lang, eto na yan. Okay? Sooner or later, ganun at ganun din yun. Again, I'm not talking about the entire system or the entire country, the entire world. Okay? Again, it depends on the geographic. Okay? Alright. So, dito, no, in other common constraint on development are high economic poverty, hunger, and high mortality rates, and poor sanitations. And these factors all combine to create that the World Bank calls poverty traps. Bakit po siya poverty traps? Kasi paikot-ikot. It's a cycle that must be broken for countries to develop. So, kailangan merong mag-stand out dyan. Kailangan may tumulong sa mga bansa na yan para mawala sila doon sa trap na yon. So, countries can avoid poverty traps, however, with a strong policy. Likewise, geographic advantage do not always result in a sound development in cases when the governments squander valuable natural resources. So the World Bank, therefore, recommends that countries focus on the 6 areas of policies to improve changes of development. So ano-ano daw po yung nire-recommend ni World Bank? Una, we need to invest in education and health. Kapag po, ito yung tinatawag natin na na primary. Kumbaga, doon pa lang sa primary na yon, pag hindi na siya strong, it's all throughout, hindi na rin siya magiging maayos. Okay? Kasi nga po, ito yung foundation. Okay? Number 2, increase productivity of small farms. Bakit? Because farms, or let's say, natural resources, ito sila po kasi nagpo-provide ng basic necessities. So, the more na maraming production, okay, because of the basic needs of our community, no, mas marami silang mabibenta. Okay, so that's why we need to increase the productivity of our small farms. Next, improving infrastructure. So, for example, roads, so good thing, no? We have the build program. Yan. So, lahat magiging mabilis na lang when it comes to transportation. Next, developing an industrial policy to promote manufacturing. Okay, so industrial policy, ito po yung mga businesses, no? Okay, there's no problem with having or for being a democratic country because, or let's say, wala pong problema if our country is what we call a market system. Okay, as long as we have policy to follow. Next, promoting democracy and human rights. So, everyone have rights according to their will. However, that will also have limitations. And last, ensuring environmental protection. So, syempre, lahat naman ng nangyayari sa atin, okay, it's definitely based on our action. So, si Mother Nature, gumaganti lang siya. So, ang return lang noon, let's taking care of our natural resources. So, yun po yung poverty graph. Again, poverty trap depends on geographic. So, kailan lang daw po mabubuo yun? Kailan lang daw po mabubuwag yun? Kapag po nagkaroon tayo ng strong policy or lawmaker. Alright, so here we have our review about human development.
Human development is a concept of development that has to do with the creation and improving of living conditions, where people can develop their full potential, can have a long and healthy life, can have access to an appropriate education system, can develop their potential to the fullest and be productive in order to have the opportunity to live according to their needs and interests. Human development in this aspect is about expanding the choices people have to lead qualitative lives. It is exactly those people who should be in the center of development process. Thus, human development means the capability for a long and happy life, for a qualitative education, and participation in economy to lead a life with dignity. Furthermore, the development does not concentrate on the amount of money a person gets, but on how much is invested in people. For example, as we know, the money can be used for medicine purchase, but also for the purchase of narcotic substances. Money can be used for military equipment, but also for construction of schools. Human development fights inequalities and promotes a life with dignity for all people worldwide, regardless of their origin, gender, and skin color. Sustainable human development means the creation of the same opportunities for next generations who have the same rights as their parents for a dignified life. The ethnical, political, social, economic, gender inequalities are some of the barriers for sustainable human development. They are the source of conflicts, aggression, and other problems that disable a dignified life and have devastating long-term consequences. Sustainability is a crucial aspect considering the growth of population, which causes a higher consumption, which on the other hand damages living environments beyond its capacities. Based on data, with the growth of population in a world with 7 billion people this year, in 2050 the number will be approximately 9 billion. We buy new cars only because they look more striking. We buy new computers, new phones, If we don't stop doing this, we won't be able to stop the garbage and waste and the use of resources that belong to at least 3 planets that in fact we have only one. Only a sustainable human development can balance this predictable phenomenon. Manufacturers will produce more, we will be encouraged to buy more, we will get more loans, and at the end, we will produce more waste that overpasses the existing resources. Only if we change our consumption behavior, we and our children will have a prosperous future.
Alright, so, like what I've said kanina, no, development or economic development is definitely start with the human. So, the more na nagkakaroon ng development, ang ang buhay ng isang mamamayan, okay, it can definitely help the development of our economy. Okay, so your assignment, no? You're going to state your analysis to our, so far, hindi nyo pa naman na-access yung ating CMU official course or our LMS. I want you to upload your assignment in our Edmodo. So just wait for my instruction. And when the instruction is already integrated in our Edmodo account or Edmodo case, that's the time you will submit your assignment. So your assignment is, what is the current human development in the Philippines? Pag sinabing current, since we are facing pandemic, ano kaya ang nangyari na sa atin? Okay? So magandang study ito. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, queries, whatsoever, it's definitely highly appreciated. Again, thank you so much and have a nice day.